I first played Gone Home back in 2013, when every reviewer was saying it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and in the end, I was more than a little disappointed. But now that it's a free PlayStation Plus game, I figured, what the hell, might as well review it. Gone Home places you in the shoes of Katie, a girl who comes home after studying abroad for a few years. She returns to a house with no one around. A normal person would go to sleep at 1 in the morning, but not Katie. So when what I'm assuming is a serious case of jet lag, she looks around to see where everyone went. Right off the bat, the house comes off as more than a little creepy and has an almost horror-like atmosphere. Granted, that quickly dissolves once you realize that this is just some ordinary family in an ordinary old house, but kudos to the developers for throwing the player off at first. You can search for what happened to Katie's parents if you want to piece it together, but the main narrative is her sister Sam's story of finding love. She meets a girl named Lonnie who has an average taste in punk music at best and an interest in Street Fighter. They hang out, fall in love in the mid-90s, which is also known as not the best time period to be gay. The problem with the story is it's so damn predictable. When I first played the game, I predicted the ending to Sam's story within the first 10 minutes, which is just way too soon. We've got an upcoming spoiler, so if you care, mute the video until the word spoiler disappears from the screen. In the meantime, feel free to enjoy the action-packed gameplay of Gone Home. The plot is basically the shy kid meets rebel trope, but with lesbians. And if star-crossed lovers don't kill themselves like in Romeo and Juliet, then teenagers abandon their life plans and run away from home because their love is just that pure. Forget about going to your dream college or enlisting in the military like you wanted to since you were young. Let's run away together. The problem with a predictable story in a story-based game is if I'm just figuring out what happens between point A and point B, it's much less enjoyable. It's like when some dick spoils the newest episode of Game of Thrones for you. Sure, you can still enjoy it, but the drama has been torn out of the story, which makes it significantly less fun to experience. In Gone Home's defense, I thought replaying the game would be torture, but I was pleasantly surprised. While nothing new, Sam's story is actually well executed and told through various notes left around the house. It also helps that the notes read back in Sam's voice are engrossing and wonderfully voice acted.
So you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Yeah, it turns out it applies to Street Fighter too. At least I worked up the courage to walk into the 7-Eleven and ask for a turn, but all that practice at home did not exactly translate in the wild.
Gameplay is rather simplistic. You walk around the house, picking up stuff and examining everything like someone who never learned what boundaries are. This genre of games earned the name walking simulator for a reason, and it can get pretty boring, especially if you can't figure out where to go, because then you're basically walking around a house aimlessly, which is about as fun as it sounds. On occasion, you'll need to solve a puzzle, but the majority of gameplay is looking around and piecing together the story, so your level of involvement is really up to you. And the devil's in the details. This game truly feels like a somewhat unique house with an average family living inside. Because, like it or not, there's a story for everything, even if it's as mundane as leaving your shit lying around. With the right context, your stuff can give someone else a little bit of knowledge about you, which Gone Home is fully aware of and embraces wholeheartedly. It's good level design, but it's so good it harms the drama of the narrative. If you like playing nosy detective, the subtle clues scattered around the house can easily spoil the surprise of what happens to Sam, assuming this isn't your first love story. Gone Home gets a C. So yeah, it's an okay game. The story, which is most of the substance for Gone Home, didn't impress me. I was looking for a curveball or something to catch me off guard, but nothing ever came. It feels like wasted potential. Call me old-fashioned, but for a story to be engaging, it can't rest on tired tropes. Because it doesn't matter what coat of paint you use, whether it's edgy, intellectual, or in this case, progressive, a generic teenage love story is still generic. Granted, it's just a short story about a young girl, and may have never been for someone like me in the first place. But I can say, it definitely was overhyped.